All right, and we are live. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, just sitting here drinking my morning coffee. Looking sexy as hell as usual. And got to find a good placement for the mic. I don't put it somewhere nobody can hear me. All right. So I might test something here in a minute and see. I need my audience to get feedback, though. That's the problem. I don't know what you guys can hear on your end through the streaming that YouTube does. But it's going to be a back and bicep day. I might try moving it over slightly and pointing it towards me, though, and seeing if people can hear me. But if they can't hear me, the audio quality is not there, then I can't do that. So let's see who we get in here this morning. I got really delayed on this. I don't know how long I'll run this coffee chat because I got to get my training done. Again, back and bicep day, do some weighted shins and everything. Get all my back work done, get some curls done. All right. Trying to keep my training more balanced now with a slight bias towards the biceps and stuff. Again, I start to question that even when I do some of the weak point training. I don't know that weak point training works as well as anybody thinks it does. Sometimes all we can do is just train everything really hard with a very small bias towards your weak links, and hopefully they catch up. But the other thing, and I think people forget, and this is almost its own topic, when it comes to weak point training, which you have to look at, is it really a weak point or is it imbalanced training that created it to begin with? If it was just imbalanced training, all you have to do is fix the training, and eventually stuff will start to catch back up. Does that make sense? Because we have a diminished return every year on every muscle anyways. So the stuff that's lagging, it's still going to be in a less trained condition than the rest of your body if it was undertrained, due to training imbalances. So ultimately it will balance out more if you just balance your training. The other, we come to the weak point stuff, then we start asking this stuff of, does extra training volume even do that much? That's the real question. If your volumes are good, a lot of nuance to these things, right? A lot of nuance to these things. And I've taken plenty of my lifters and who just had weak backs in general, though, and give them really high volumes of rowing for a short phase. Why do a lot of your clients? Mainly because a lot of them really are okay with 4 days of training. And we have time limits in the gym, right? And we come over to, you're going to notice a pattern there. It's usually guys who have a certain aesthetic look. We have a separate shoulder day. If I have a guy who tells me that they care about powerlifting first and foremost, do you think I'm going to do a separate shoulder day? So if I have a power lifter doing a 3-day push-pull legs, we don't need a shoulder day. I have a guy who tells me he wants a certain physique, we're going to do a shoulder day, like if he's looking for a certain look, especially if he can squeeze 4 to 5 days in. When more of you get in here and comment, I want to check something with the mic and get feedback. But if I don't have 5 or 6 people commenting, it's not going to work. Like, it's got to be regulars. All right. So does that make sense, Darth? Then the other thing to think about, there's a reason I do splits more and more, and I look at the evidence and look at my own training history. When you look at the way muscle fibers get recruited, do the muscles that get worked later in a workout get full recruitment? They don't appear to. So unless those muscles got serious work early on, that's why a back and bicep makes sense, because you at least trained your biceps on every single exercise going into the bicep work, right? You didn't do a bunch of squatting before the bicep work. You didn't do a bunch of bench pressing before the bicep work. So when you create all that fatigue, it's going to start causing your peripheral nervous system to be a little less efficient. When it gets more fatigued, it's going to start cutting out some of the motor units it's recruiting. At least you're doing it in the same muscles you've already previously created some fatigue in. So you're going to get more continual residual. Otherwise, if you do a ton of benching, right? Let's say you do 10 sets of pressing for your chest and then you go to biceps. Your biceps are now getting the reduced nervous system response while the fibers are still fresh. That's not going to pan out too well for an advanced lifter. You're going to get less growth from it. So there's a reason I split stuff up more and more the longer I've done this. How about a lot of that full body training left me with smaller biceps because I did them at the end of the workout, if I did them at all. And then when people say, well, can you just do squats last and you'll have smaller legs and a weaker squat? That's not working either. So again, there's a reason I've drifted more in this direction over time. Hello, Jason, do you think about a balanced macros? I don't think about that at all. I don't believe in percentages at all for macros. I don't think there's any method behind it to something like that. It's arbitrarily made up. So, the perfect example, let's say you do 40, 30, 30. So what if your calories are different? How are you going to hit the proper protein intake if you stay at 30% on 2,000, 3,000, or 4,000 calories? You see the problem here? It's ridiculous. Shouldn't the protein percentage be going way up anytime you reduce calories because you need more protein when you're trying to get leaner to preserve muscle? But instead you're going to reduce protein if you reduce calories? That's just dumb. See how silly that idea is? So let's say, a guy's maintenance is normally 3,000. All right. So you got enough 3,000 calories times 30. That's 900. So that's about 225 grams of protein. That's probably a decent amount. So then he decides for whatever reason, he gets slower activity and he needs to lose some body fat. He drops down to 2,000. Right? Now, where are we? He's down to 150 grams of protein. So he took 75 grams of protein out of his diet because he went onto a cut. Well, that's stupid. Percentages are complete nonsense. It's not, and they're arbitrary. They're just made up. So if you're not specifically pursuing really low fat or specifically really low carbohydrate, I recommend you don't care about percentages at all. Why don't you just eat a good balance then? So instead of tracking those numbers, and I've eaten like this sometimes, and I think it's perfectly acceptable. I've had phases where I'm eating rice and avocados every day, right? So we're doing carbs and healthy fats. Do you think I really know what the percentages are? I don't even care what the grams are. I only look at, okay, I eat about 3,600 calories a day with 300 grams of protein. There were a bunch of carbs and fat in there. Realistically, do you think your body cares from a body composition perspective, whether it was 40%, 30%, or 50% carbohydrate at that point? Probably not. Your body doesn't really care. Only reason I do really low carbs is to drop water weight in my GI tract. That's the reason for those who are unaware. Less bloating in my stomach since I fast in the mornings. It's a lower food volume later in the day. I get less GI tract distress and I hold less water in my gut. That's it. That's the whole reason. That's why I do lower carbs. There's nothing magical about it. It's purely about water weight. And I might quit doing that eventually here. Just if I focus more on the fasted keep the fasted cardio really high. I might just go back the other direction and just do a nice mix. That rice and avocado. Yeah, I think it's a solid way to go. And I like for really lean bulking, I do like the ultra low fat, but you do run into some potential deficiencies with that also. Just be aware of that. There's benefits to that, like if you're wanting, but then we debate of, is it necessary? Do we need the bigger surplus? Is it even really that correlated with more growth? I don't know that it is. It'll keep you leaner that way because you're eating like no fat, like 10 grams of fat a day. Potential deficiencies though. So again, a lot of nuance to that. Right, it's a lot of nuance. Okay. I don't want to run this one long. We'll see what we get for people. I got to get my training in this morning. We got to. Kind of imperative. All right. Just checking something. So far, we only have 2 people commenting. And nobody hitting the likes. That's another reason we don't get people in these quicker. If you guys don't hit the likes when you ask questions, it doesn't reach people's streams, by the way. So that's why people are like, I don't see it, because people didn't hit likes. Like last night, I had a bunch of likes, and so that helped. A lot of these breakfast chats, you guys who ask questions forget to hit the button. And then, so it doesn't appear in anyone's alerts because they're like, there's no activity, so why should it go out? There we go. Appreciate it, guys. A bunch of them came in. All right, that'll probably hit a few feeds now. So, yeah, so it's going to be a back and bicep day. That's kind of where I'm going to go with a lot of that more. I'm just going to stick with what I was doing. About 12 quality sets for the big muscles, and then come in and do arm work and stuff behind it. Maybe 3 sets for triceps, 6 sets for biceps, 6 or 7. And the reason I'm only doing 3 for triceps is because I'm doing all tricep work with my chest stuff. Did Frenchie subscribe to your own? I haven't picked up any people since the first day. Jim, I've had a bunch of people ask me about it. They've inquired who were real accounts. And so they'll definitely looking at signing up soon, who messaged me. But all my signups were in the first 24 hours. And, so not to my knowledge. But eventually, mainly I need more content. I think what one person said, they're like, they want to see a bit more content before I do that. And I'm working on it. I actually have a ton of pictures that I'm slowly uploading, but I need to do more. I'm working on some other photo shoot ideas and then edit the others. Like a bunch of people were like, I'm laughing. Haters are like, those are edited. They're not edited. That's what's funny. Those are straight. We're going to start editing them, and then people will be like, oh, now he's editing. No, those are just straight shots, just with good lighting in my bedroom. But I mean, I've got a ton of stuff. Right. So yes, there's tasteful needs. All right, but yeah, I mean, I'm trying to keep it all tasteful. Right, I'm not doing raunchy stuff. It's just not my plan. It's not what I want to do with it. I want it to appeal to women also, not just a bunch of dudes, which I'm fine. At the end of the day, $20 is $20. But I do want it to be appealing to a wider audience. Where's the ammo presser? You mean a reloading press? I don't know, man. Where do you think it is? Obviously not sitting in my office. I haven't been reloading. I haven't reloaded any ammo since the last videos of that. I don't think you guys understand how much ammo I have tucked away at this point. Like, I'm literally ready for the zombie apocalypse. I'm good. Right? Once you get through that first, I guess, 6,000 or 7,000 zombies, though, I'm going to have to really slow down. I'm going to have to be very selective. Right? I don't know why. I mean, it's like funny. You get people who are not part of firearm culture who they have ideas of what they think a lot of guns and ammo are versus what people who actually are gun people think, and it's vastly different. Like, I was crying. Me and all my bros, we were crying. Like, we saw this news story, some other state of some guy with an arsenal. Right? He had 5 guns and 300 rounds of ammo. We're like crying, laughing. It's like, dude, that's total new. This is your first week. So you just started getting into guns last week, right? We get it, Hobie. I can't even imagine only having 300 rounds of ammo. I can't even get my head around that. Like, that's one day at the range. That's like one trip. That's gone in like an hour. It's like, you guys serious? So if you guys saw the proficiency, like when I had put up me shooting when I'm really dialed in, like when you guys watched me drill the little hole in the X-ring, like, so I think I did 2 magazines, so 30 rounds and a mag change in 14 seconds, all of them inside of the bullseye, right? So not even counting, so the mag change in the middle, 14 seconds, 30 rounds, all inside the bullseye. I was putting 200 to 300 rounds downrange every single week when I did that. So like right now, I'd probably be like this, dude. Like if someone came at me, I'd probably be hitting them here and here and here and all sorts of stuff. They wouldn't be in the middle. Like 15 of them in 3 seconds. They would be like all over the place. So I'm a little out of practice now. Like I couldn't put them through the same hole. You know, because I'm not doing that at the moment. But yeah, ammo is expensive and stuff, so I'm not practicing it much. I don't want to burn through what I have. Make an occasional trip. Maintain some baseline proficiency. When stuff changes in my life, I'll get back into it hardcore again. Not right now. I don't need to. It's not necessary. Like maybe if I go over to like 1911s or something, because that would be my next project. I'll start open carrying a 1911. I might do that. You know. All right, guys. There's not really much people in here, so I'm gonna go ahead and wind this down. I'm gonna go get my workout done. Love all you guys and gals, and I'll talk to you next time.